Hey YouTube. I realized it's been a while since I checked in. Last time I think was going through some perfumes I wore this summer, so I thought I would stop by to tell you about some perfumes I've been wearing this winter. Of course, there's not really a winter in Los Angeles. We might get a few days down in the 50s, but that's about it. But I have spent some time on the East Coast where it was very cold. Um, Anyway, so these will be a selection of things that I've worn in cold East Coast winter, as well as your temperate West Coast winter. Thanks for joining. Okay, so first up is Eight and Bob's Nuit de Megève. I bought this blind, and thankfully it comes in these really convenient 30 ml bottles, so I didn't have to buy a full 100 ml bottle. So I took a risk, basically just based on the notes, and people have said that it's a close cousin of Dior's Vetiver in the Maison Christian Dior Privé line. And so it's got notes of clove, petitgrain, orris, coffee, tobacco, and vetiver. It's a vetiver heavy fragrance. Um, and I bought it in the summer and hadn't worn it much, but I took it home with me for Christmas. And when I got home for Christmas on the East Coast in Virginia, it was like 10 degrees during the day, which is unseasonably bitterly cold. And I wore this for the first few days there, and it blew my mind. It was kind of like wearing a warm sweater the whole time, and I actually got quite a few compliments from family members on it. Uh, it's very dark, it's very mysterious, uh, it's very woody, and wouldn't necessarily go for something that was this masculine, but I was really really feeling this. And the image it kind of recalls for me is if you've ever been to a college library at finals time, and it's very quiet, it's late, people are studying hard, there's lots of coffee, people might be dodging out here and there for a cigarette. That's exactly the vibe and the smell that this recalls for me. Just fabulous, and I'm very happy to have it. Next up is Volage by Neiman Marcus. This is a vintage, discontinued scent. I think it was premiered in the late 70s, went out of production in the mid 90s, and I got this on eBay. And it only comes in a splash as far as I know, so I've decanted it into one of these decant bottles and added my own like decorative touch. I went a little OTT. Anyway, this is a spicy, aromatic, oriental fragrance. I think at the time it was released, it was kind of a competitor for Opium, vintage Opium by Yves Saint Laurent, which came out a couple of years before. And I've smelled both, and I greatly, greatly prefer this. This is, smelling it now, it's hard to believe that it was marketed to women because it's incredibly deep, spicy, rich, and green. A lot of oak moss. It's very dusty. It's very powdery. When I wore this at home in the cold temps, my dad in particular really liked this one. It's very classic smelling, and kind of the first time I smelled it, I thought it might be too mature, uh, too kind of powdery. Um, but no, since then I've really become, I've just fallen in love with this fragrance. It fetches a pretty penny on eBay, but I managed to get a 30 ml bottle to test it out. And then once I realized I was obsessed with it, I actually scored a 4 ounce bottle of it in the splash. So I have enough Volage to last forever. Um, and I got it very affordably, but extremely happy about this. It's really scratching my spicy, rich, kind of winter fragrance itch. Uh, Highly recommend you sniffing it if you can. Okay, next up is one I got for Christmas by request. This is Idolo's Love and Crime. This is the only gourmand scent that I own, and they first smelled it in person at Scent Bar, which is Lucky Scent's retail store here in Los Angeles. Um, and it's a very hectic kind of environment because there's lots of smells going on, and I couldn't really smell it in the store when I sprayed it on my skin. But when I left and I was with a relative and I was driving home, and we both kind of like looked around like, what is it that smells so good? And it was this, it was Love and Crime. And since I've gotten it, I've worn it to the office a few times, and man, it is a real compliment getter. It is a loud perfume. It's an Extrait de Parfum, which normally I find Extraits sit kind of close to the skin, but this, man, it just blasts. The smell is, it's a like a kind of a lemony cake smell at the top, and that cakey vanilla-y factor stays with you the whole time. But it gets really, really deep and rich as it dries down, and I get a lot of rose on this one. And I think what makes it really unique is kind of like a woody star anise vibe, which takes it to the point where it could justifiably be worn by a man. The caveat, though, is it's so loud that I find by the end of a workday, it's kind of like choking me out because it just like keeps going and going. Um, and it can get a little cloying. I would like this probably in a situation where I knew I was only going to be out for like 4 or 5 hours and could dodge home and rinse off afterwards. Because it is beautiful and it does get attention, but man, I don't know that I want to smell like cake for 12 or 14 or 24 hours. But it is a beautiful scent. Very happy to have it. Okay, can you guess what this one is? It's Ariana Grande's Cloud. This I got for my birthday back in September. I was very curious about it, but to my dismay, when I got it, sprayed it on my skin, and I just couldn't smell a thing. I could smell something vaguely sugary, but not much more than that. Fast forward, a few months later, someone was visiting me, and they sprayed it on, and man, I could smell it like crazy on them, and it was gorgeous. It was like musky and like spun sugar or burnt sugar. Very unique, not really like anything I'd smelled before. And they were with me for a week and they wore it the whole time they were here. And after they left, I put it on. And I don't know why, but then after that, I could smell it on me. And man, I really like this. It's quirky, unusual. I don't know if it's the ambroxan in it or if it's the other aroma chemical that they cite, which is cashmeran, but it is got this really intense muskiness, which is also like kind of salty, bordering on like sour or sweaty. And man, that sounds gross, but it is really, really good. I really like it. I don't think it compares very closely to Baccarat Rouge 540. The general like theme is there, but I think that this is a very good perfume in its own right, and I've been wearing it a lot ever since that. And finally, the last one that I'm going to talk about today is Versace's Blonde. This is the Extrait de Parfum, and it has the most ridiculously opulent presentation. It's beautiful, actually. This is a vintage too. Came out in '95. It's by a perfumer called Natalie Feistauer. It's a tuberose bomb, and man, I don't think that I ever would have thought of myself as being somebody who would like tuberose. But this is just incredible. And from what I can tell, what I've researched online, the perfumer, Natalie Feistauer, has said that when they launched this perfume, there was no price limit set by Versace, and they used the entire world's production of Tuberose Absolute in that year. And man, this is just so bombastic, super sexual in a way. It's tuberose and civet, which are just two very loud ingredients, but they smell incredible together. It's so warm and so sexy. They are rounded out by an orange blossom neroli, very sharp in the opening. Some carnation is in there. Some pittosporum, which is a We commonly call it mock orange. There's actually a lot of them in Los Angeles, but they are a waxy evergreen plant. It smells kind of like a sharper orange blossom. It's great, and you can definitely smell it in there. And at the base, there's benzoin, which is like a spicy amber. Man, this thing is good. I've just been wearing it nonstop since I got it, like every night. It's super musky, super comforting, super unusual. There's nothing like this out there today. Um, and I like it so much that I actually went ahead and ordered the Eau de Toilette version um, as well. So now I own lots and lots of Blonde by Versace. This is a 15 ml Extrait, and this is a 50 ml Eau de Toilette. But the Extrait, you literally need just like a drop on your wrist and on your elbow, and you'll smell it for 24 hours. It's so powerful, it's ridiculous. But it's never overwhelming. It's so natural. Um it's just delightful. And so I'm super happy to have it. And it really has rounded out all my needs for this winter. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope that you found some new things to wear and to love this winter. Let me know if there's something that you've discovered in the comments. All right, talk soon. Bye.